Hi folks, I'm Paul and welcome back to Recycled Model Railways. Been a couple of weeks, so let's get on with it. So, where have I been? What have I been doing? Does anyone care? Obviously it's getting to that time of year now where the sun's starting to shine and everyone's getting the gardens ready to look nice for the summer, so weekends of late have been busy doing things like that, getting my garden sorted and reorganising sheds and all the other crap that goes with it. But what have we done on the model railways? Well, you've seen the photograph on page on the you know, I forget the clickbait bit. So yeah, that was a nice little bargain. I just happened to be trolling through eBay one night. I generally list ending soonest and came across the press floors, chem floors, sorry. Now this all started with a subscriber saying, oh, I'd love to see what you can do with one, and I rummaged through my box a while ago and found I had 2.5, half meaning it didn't have a lid, and then I bought some more, and then I bought some more about 2 weeks ago. So in the ending soonest there were 19 chem floor wagons and I got them for 42 quid. Now I like to buy cheap and I normally won't look at it unless I can buy a wagon for 3 quid. This worked out at £2 and coppers each. So the jewellery arrived well packaged, all individually wrapped, all with metal wheels, all the couplings, buffers and everything all intact, and I just thought, what an absolute bargain. 19 wagons for 42 quid. Do the maths yourself, it's bloody cheap. So I think I've said this before in the past, that sometimes people might give you ideas for your layout. Sometimes you might see something and think, oh, I quite like the look of that, and then you head off going down a route that you didn't envisage for your layout. I've done that several times lately, obviously the concrete being one of them. But I was also at the show yesterday just outside of Darlington, it's not too far from me, only a little show, but you know, all in all still enjoyable. Couple of trade stands there, and the local model railway club, which was Dallow, had their own little stand selling a few bits and pieces, and I got some more bargains while I was there yesterday. I got some from the Triang Man, which I'm sure you've all heard of, and I got some from BKK, I think it was, just a gentleman selling stuff on his own, who I bought quite a few bits from, and he did me a nice little discount on it all, and he offered me one thing which I'll show you towards the end, which I'm absolutely thrilled with. Doesn't fit in with my time period, but I couldn't say no for the money. So are they worth going to model railway shows? Yes they are, because you get to see how other people model stuff, the time, the effort and everything else they put in, and then there's always those bits of bargains floating about. So let's have a little look at what else I got. Oh, and before I forget, right at the end as well, I will also show you where I've gotten to with this Metcalfe kit. If you remember, I was building some of the Viaduct set at the moment for a display piece, but eventually it will go on the layout. I worked out that I needed 5 sections or the equivalent of 10 arches, but I have done a bit more and I've got a few more hints and tips to do, but we'll get to that in a bit. Right, I'm going to point the camera down so you can see the desk, and then we'll show you the first little bargain I got. This one was from Darlington Model Railway Club themselves, so I'm just going to kind of put them, group them together on my desk before I turn the camera down. Okay, so let me move things that have nothing to do with Darlington Model Railway Club. So this is what I got out of their box of bits and pieces. So in here in here we have a selection of metal animals and a nice little storage tray. We've got 2 little bags of coal. These will do nicely for tenders on steam locos and what have you. I got a packet, unopened packet, of the Metcalfe self-adhesive paving slips. I've already got a use for some of them. I got these very nice laser cut wooden fence strips. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full ones and a little tiny offcut there. So, and then the last thing was this, a bag of windows, doors, gates and other things, always going to come in handy when you're doing modelling. Some bits of plastic, more bits of plastic. This one was a real junk box, but I bought it because I thought, well, might be able to use some of it. So again, another little door, and then in the box is all white metal kit parts for locos. So I've got chimneys, I've got nose fronts, I've got, like, you know, I don't know what they'd actually call them, but wheel arches. There's all sorts in here. There's even one side of a cab. Now it's not 00 scale, so I reckon G maybe. Quite a nice piece, got a nice door in there with its handle on. So who knows what I'll use it for, but I will think of something, rest assured. So we picked up that off the Darlington Model Railway Club, and we rummaged through the box and I took out what I wanted, what I thought I would use, or what I thought I would use. So we got all of these, this, these, and all of that. So I put them all on one side and I said, go on then, how much do you want? I nearly fell off my chair when he told me, £3. £3. He's got the paving slabs marked up at 4, knocked down to 2, and it was £3 for that. Now I know that money's going back into the club, so I just said to him, call it a £5, save messing about with change. But yeah, alright, I paid 5, but for £3, come on. You know what I mean? This is all handy stuff that can be put to use. And rummaging through the boxes at the model railway shows is where you find the bargains. It's the stuff that they think people don't want, aren't going to look for. They're not putting it front and centre. They're just stashing them in a box somewhere so that, you know, they can advertise the stuff that they think will sell better. So that was one bargain. Next, got this nice Class 20. Now I say nice, the shell is in very good order, there's no damage to it and nothing, everything's as it should be. It's the wrong time scheme for me because it's in rail freight colours, but doesn't matter, I can paint it. And all that's wrong with it is this here. The drive shaft is missing. The motor turns, he showed me that, and I've checked it again myself. Motor turns perfectly, but there's no drive shaft. I got that for £20. Now with the drive shaft on, well, I don't even know what make it is. It's a Lima. Alright, I know a lot of people don't like Lima, but you know what, personally I don't care. It runs, it works, etc. I don't give a monkey's who's produced it. £20 for that, and all I've got to do is buy the drive shaft and fit it, and then that could go on anybody's model railway. That was a bargain. Another Lima model. He had this sitting there. I'd made it clear to him that I like things that need a bit of work or could do with some sort of updating, and he threw this at me. A working Lima Class 8 shunter for £10. Can't say no at £10. Definitely not. And then he had that, So as we've already started the show talking about cement, this is an Airfix kit. Now whoever put this together was bloody good. There's all the detail is perfect. It's not full of glue marks, nothing. There's not a mark on it to say that he did it himself. You know, the couplers are there. He's even put the plastic wheels on. Now I've got quite a few of these, so that's going to get added to the fleet of those, but obviously with real wheels. I think it was £3 or two, it might have been 2. So while I was rummaging, now I'm going to get confused a minute what I got off Triang and what I got off BBK. So I came across these Triang parcel vans. I haven't got any of these at all, none whatsoever. Saw these advertised £5. I normally have a limit, or a start if you like, depending on how good they are, of £7. So at £5 I wasn't going to say no to that one, and that one. This last one is the only one that's got an issue, in that it's missing a door right there. But in other news, Tim, I know you've been waiting to hear this, I've decided I'm going to get myself a 3D printer. No, I'm not getting a resin one. I'll be using it in my room, and I don't want the smell, and I don't like how fragile resin is. But I've picked one that a lot of people seem to have a lot to say about, that seems to be able to do intricate work, that could also be used by the family. So there's a 3D printer coming this way. So something like that door, my son, who's a bit of a computer whiz, will be able to design that for me and print it, and then I can just stick it on. So we've got 3, £5 a piece, and then we've got that one in the box, and that one in the box. So £7. So I'm doing well here, because these are the prices I pay, and these are less than I would pay. But what else have we got? Right, let's have a little look. I bought them. These are the Lima refrigerated wagons. Now this one's got Rail Freight and the BR logo on it. I don't know how true that is, and it's probably after my era, but I quite like the look of them. I do like longer goods vehicles rather than little short ones. So we've got 3 of those in different liveries, all in good order. So we've got this one, which is, what does that say? Trying to read it upside down. The old fabric glasses on into something, God knows, can't read. And traffic services, Pfizer traffic services. So those £5 each. Very, very happy man with them. And the funny thing is, I was saying to my son on the way to the show, because he does like to come with me, I said normally I go to these shows and I don't find a great deal that I'm interested in, and I might come away with one. I mean, I was at the Aycliffe show last year and I bought one model, that was it, just one. And yet this tiny little place, we've got all those odds and ends, 2 engines, 1, 2, 3, 4 wagons, 5 goods vans. I'm doing well here. Anyway, moving on. BBK or BKK, whatever it was called, had some original Pullman sets still in the Triang box. And in the Triang boxes you had 2 blue with yellow and 1 of the white ones. £75, £85, and I think it was £90 for the white one, because he said it's more rare. They did look nice, I will give him that, they were very nice, but they had the track, old Triang track, which you're just going to throw straight in the bin, and the power cord, which I don't need anyway. And I thought, no, I'm not paying that much money. I don't want to cough up that much. And then as I'm looking around the stall, we found that. Oh, we found this. A dummy car for the Pullman. So she's a little rough, she's a bit dirty, but £5. Why not? £5 for the dummy car. And I thought, right, okay, that's a project in itself, but I'd like your comments. If you were me and you're going to put a Pullman set together, obviously I'm probably going to end up painting it because I'll buy something that's really crappy. But if you were me and this was yours, this item here, would you do it again in the blue and the blue with the silver top and the white frames on the windows, or would you do the transverse where it's mostly white? For me, this is the most known colours, but I'd like people's opinion. My thought initially is go on the white side, because most of the stuff I'm going to have running around is going to be blue and yellow, and it'll just be another, I know it's only yellow on the front, but you see my point. This is just going to look like every Mark 1 coach I've got. So no decisions made yet, and it's early doors for that, because that's all I've got. I need coaches and I need the driving motor. So there you go. There's one more to come. Most of the bargains that I picked up at Darlington Model Railway's open day yesterday in Hayington Village. It was a brilliant little afternoon out. My son had an excellent afternoon because he loves to go on the club tombolas. I don't mind giving him the money for it because he enjoys it, and it's kind of supporting the club a little bit, isn't it, really? So whatever you spend on the tombola goes into their bank, if you like. So he did well. He did spend £30 on tickets, but that's normal. And he walked out with 12 he won. And the nice people there actually gave him one of the gifts because he'd spent so much money with them, which I thought was very, very nice of them indeed. So it was a good day out. They do host another show later in the year over Aycliffe Way at Sports Village, which is much, much bigger. Much, much bigger. So we'll be seeing them again. So my favourite item of the day yesterday is this. I am so thrilled with this. It's a Hornby BR Sprinter 155 two-car set, and he had it on his table and he said to me, you said you like fixing things, and I said yes I do. He said this thing needs to be fixed. He'd not long got it. He said it's full of gunk in the motor and it doesn't run. And I thought, perfect, my cup of tea. Look at that. It's absolutely immaculate. Not a scratch on it, not a mark on it. It just doesn't run. It's in its box, it's got all of its paperwork with it. It's not my era, because the Sprinter 155 according to the box was the 80s, and I kind of don't go that far on mine, or I'm not planning to. There's sometimes where I think, oh bugger it, just put what you want on, and I'm really loath to fix this and then get rid of it because it's too bloody nice. So what did I pay for that? In its box, yes, it's a non-runner, £25 for this, and he reckons if I've got it running it's probably worth 80. Well, I ain't bothered about the end value. I'm interested in what I buy it for, because I'm not in this to resell. So this was an absolute bargain. Now whether he offered it up because I'd already bought quite a lot from him at the time, and I was literally picking stuff that most other people might not pick, I don't know, because it was right at the end and I said I think that's everything, and then he pointed this out and he said, how about that if you want something to fix? Doesn't run. So I thought, I didn't even take it, open the box, to be honest with you, I didn't. Nice guy, trusted him, and he said all that is wrong is it doesn't run. And I thought fine, so the body works fine. I looked last night and I thought, wow, what a very, very smart model. So that was just unbelievable. to get that for 25 quid. There was a couple of sets there as well, a couple of railway sets, you know, like what you bought kids for Christmas years ago. There was, I can't remember what it's called now, it was a Hornby set, and it had a class 58 and 6 or 7 various wagons and the track and the transformer, all still in the original box. But let me just wind you back up to my mush. But unfortunately it was too expensive. The 58 wouldn't go with my layout, it's the wrong era again, although I do like the look of the 58s. But it was just too rich, far too rich, because I'm looking at it and thinking, right, I could probably buy the loco for 25, 3 quid a truck. I wouldn't even get the 50 quid, and it was 140 something, I think. Add the original Hornby track in, well, that's not going to get used neither. Yeah, you've got a power controller, but it's just a very basic one. It did have an Airfix model set. Now the box was brilliant, it looked like it had been painted, the front looked like an oil painting. No see-through plastic so you could see what you're getting, no photograph, it looked like an oil painting. And it was a 260 with various bits and pieces of, it had low max on it, it had quite a few bits and pieces, but again, with all the track and everything else, and he wanted 185 quid for it, and I thought, I like it, but there's no way am I giving you 185 quid for that, it's just too much money. At the end of the day, it's an Airfix engine with Airfix wagons, which I know I can buy cheap. I bought an Airfix 64X Prairie that was knackered. This was a few years ago when I first started doing YouTube, and it would hell run, and it took me forever to get it going and to stop it wobbling around and this, that and the other, but I got it running where it was perfect, and that thing cost me 15 quid. And I thought, yeah, it's a nice looking set, but I'm not paying 180 odd pound for something that old. So anyway, there you go. Buying off eBay and buying from shows can save you money, and I keep banging on about it, but if you're the type that wants to spend £250 on a model, then that's your thing, that's for you, it's not for me. And the one thing you keep seeing on YouTube all the time is people banging on about, oh, it's an expensive hobby. Only if you want it to be. If you want it to be an expensive hobby, then yes, you can make it so. But you know my parameters: 3 quid for a wagon, 7 quid for a coach, £30 max for a loco, and I don't think I've ever got to the 30 quid on that, to be honest with you. Apart from when I bought me 2 class 20s, I did pay more than that because I really wanted them, and they were at a price I could live with at £40 each. So there you go, buying stuff on the cheap. So let's wrap this video up and talk about the next thing, and then hopefully when I'm messing on later on, I'm not having to go through this entire video section by section, because I'm trying to do it in one take. God knows what it's going to end up like, but that's what I'm trying to do. Let's go. So you can see things have developed a little bit with the arches. So this is your traditional arch part here, and you do get these on the end, and this is where your embankment would run up against this edge here. So nothing new about that, but it's not, that end is supposed to be hollow because it would run into nothing, but because I've got it as a display, it's not hollow. This box here I made out of spare bits, okay? This actual box section is spare bits of plastic, sorry, spare bits of card that I had, because I'm not putting the whole unit, all 3 units together. So we made this up. So my idea is on my layout, this would be the viaduct, and this would be cut into the hillside also, with a little park and bay sort of here-ish. Try and follow the camera, Paul. A little park and bay coming around. So this, some of you might recognise the fencing is from Hornby. It's platform fencing, so I have a fair bit of that kicking around. Signal box is on and made up. This piece of white plastic that you can see there is a little sort of trunk over for where the rods will come out for the signals. I am going to run, I have got some rod in that I'm going to run down the sides to go to the track. I put a little gate on there as well, so you can kind of see where this is going and how it's looking. So let me tell you what else I found whilst making this up, because last time we discussed making the tops of the arches only. So let's talk about these legs here, putting these on. Not quite as easy as it seems. So there's really not a lot of good fixing points, and when it says in the instructions keep off cuts of card for stiffness, yes you do, you really do need them. What I found was that under the arches, where the card wraps around and it comes in and matches here, there's nothing there, nothing. So you've got to put tabs in the back and glue one on you know, one side onto a tab. Also, when I put this box that I mentioned on the end, that's part of the kit, that wasn't very stable neither, so there's an awful lot of card has gone into that to put it together. Clearly the part with the signal box, yeah, that's all fabricated by me, so it needed all sorts. But whatever you're doing, if you're doing a kit, don't throw anything away until you've finished building it. You will need other stuff, you will need support card. So really important. I mean, putting it together, putting the viaducts together generally, pretty good. It's fairly self-explanatory, you can crack on with it, and once you've done one viaduct, you kind of know what issues you're going to hit as you're going along. So just think about it and get on with it and use your spare bits. Now then, this, let me just adjust again. Where's the signal box? Right, so this signal box here, nice little kit, but it's a pig to put together. It's quite delicate. You make the bottom up first and then you put the top onto the bottom. Big problem here, you make this bottom up and then you put the base in, so that straightens up your walls and gives you all the right angles you need. The trouble is, at the top half there's nothing there, so across the entire length here and on the back I have glued in lolly sticks, cut to length to fit tightly, and then going across through from side to side I have put more lolly sticks to brace it, because what I found was these walls here bow, where I get there, bow like this way towards the inside, so that when you come to put the walking deck on, the walls aren't straight. And bear in mind, it's not very thick card, you ain't got a lot to mess about with, and you can't get in from the bottom to hold it in place, so you will need some kind of stiffener on the inside of that to stop it bowing. Likewise, when I came to put this on, I also put some stiffener in for the roof, because I wasn't convinced, and I have again another lolly stick going from front to back, right on the peak, just to give it some support. I did buy, you can't see it, and then kind of wish I hadn't bothered now, I did buy a signal box kit off eBay, laser cut something, can't remember what, but it was about 5-6 quid, something daft like that, and it was pretty good. It had all the machines in where you put the keys, and it had the impressions of the little bells that'll ring, and obviously you had your rack of, you know, your signal throwers, whatever they call them, and a stove and various other things, even a chair. So I have got a chair at the front with a signalman sat in it, and I am going to put another one stood right here on the doorstep. But yeah, they can be a little awkward to deal with, but you'll get there. And just as I mentioned, that came with the station box kit, which I thought, well, yeah, that's nice. It's a little workman's hut. Not sure what I'm gonna do with it. It is kinda, it's very basic, but it was part of the kit, so who cares? So I've still got to do some work on these yet, touching up the corners where they're the card colour, and put the bits in here and what have you, paint the fence and so on and so forth. This again, because it's made of card, was a bit of an arse on to get it how it should be. I had to look at the directions twice to figure out why the card was cut the way it was cut, because I had like 3 apex ends, and I'm thinking 3 apex ends, where's it got 3 apex ends? But it's because one of them goes inside. So nice little addition. And then they did a, like, it looks to me like it's supposed to look like an Anderson shelter, and they call it a fuel depot, a fuel store. Piece of kit put together. The worst thing was, it said try to bend the roof over a pencil to give it the shape, because obviously an Anderson shelter, curved roof. I'm still looking for the roof part. I have no idea. I never threw a damn thing out. So I don't know. There's nothing anywhere that says you would print it or anything like that. Everything else has been provided, and I just can't find the roof. But to be honest with you, am I going to use it? Probably not. It's tiny, it's a little bit pointless, and I don't know whether I'm going to bother, if I'm honest, so we'll see. But I mentioned earlier about having a use for the steps, the concrete paths. I'm not keen on, well, this hasn't even stuck, look, I didn't even know that. I was really low on the ballast glue that I have, and it looks like most of it is not stuck, which is probably just as well, because I don't like how it ended up. It looks shit. So I think what I'm going to do is take it all up, use some of the paving slabs, one here, and then bring them up and around the corner towards this, and then I think I'm just going to put fake grass either side. I like the idea of the ballast. It seemed a bit, you know, matching with the railway, etc., but the ballast magic I've got, I had half a tub left, and it should have been more than enough, but all it seems to have done is stuck things in clumps. So yeah, so not a great deal done, if I'm honest, but you know, life takes over and there's other things to get on with, and I've also now given myself even more projects than I've already got. But there you go. So if you enjoyed the video, write me a comment, do the like bit, do the subscribe bit even. But more than anything, I would like you to tell me what you thought about what I should be doing with the blue Pullman. Is it going to stay as it is in the blue with the white windows, or are we going to go the other way around? I really would like your thoughts on that one. Not fussed either way, so I haven't made my mind up. Kind of like the idea of switching it to the white, but at the same time the blue's what everybody knows. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to any new subscribers that have come along. Thank you for those who still put up with me week after week when I do get round to putting videos on. Much appreciated. Hope you all have a good day, and we'll see you again. Bye for now.